All right, we are live, and what a way for LSU and Brian Kelly in the first year of his football program to end the 2022 season. A lot of highs, couple of lows there at the end of the season, and Brian Kelly goes into spring of 2023 with a 63-7 win over Purdue. Totally outclassed, outmanned Purdue. We saw a lot of new faces, some guys getting some opportunities for LSU that's going to bode well for him. Continue to build on his program with spring football. I'm assuming I didn't even look at the possible dates yet. Usually, when spring football gets cranked up, it usually has to do with when Easter falls. I'm not even sure when Easter falls this year yet, whether we're going to have an early spring football or a late one. But either way, a much more positive note going into this spring. And we've got three quarterbacks to talk about. Of course, Garrett Nussmeier, I knew in pregame that he was going to get the third series. And sure enough, he did. Did some nice things, but again, had an interception on a bad throw. And Walker Howard basically gets almost an entire fourth quarter. And so everybody did some nice things today. Malik Neighbors is the MVP. And, of course, Jarek Bernard Converse had a big day. And what about Quad Wilson, the fourth, Frank Wilson's son, with a pick six for 99 yards? That was really fun at the end of that one. So we're going to talk about this one. We're brought to you tonight by Pride Roofing, Alumni Hall, and attorney Kenneth P. Haines. And we're going to talk about all three of those guys on the show tonight. But if you're just tuning in, hit that like button, share it to your Facebook and Twitter feeds. And we're going to talk for a good while tonight, but let's bring Preston Guy in here and get his thoughts on what he saw today.
Utter dominance. And as much as it shows on the scoreboard, the more you dig into the box score, you realize it might have been even uglier. I mean, LSU outgained him 594 to 263. Whoever was throwing the ball for LSU, they looked incredible. And now we turn our eyes to next year because most of those guys, I think they said 10 starters will be back for offense, and I believe the one starter is Kayshon Boutte, who, had his ups and downs this year. Malik Neighbors looks every bit ready to fill that role. There's a very bright future for LSU. Of course, we saw the shuffling of Daniels and Nussmeier in the game. I think Jay Daniels looked a little bit better than Nussmeier today. I think that Nussmeier shows a higher ceiling with that arm talent, which he's got some crazy arm talent, no doubt. But I think Jane Daniels will be the guy. That's what he said after the game. Brian Kelly said he'll be our number one quarterback, but we'll keep an open mind. And that's all you can ask for as the backup quarterback. But he expects all three guys will be there for spring ball. That's a huge deal, right?
Yeah, well, we've known that at TigerBait since, I think, December 5th. And everybody said, "Are you sure?" I said, "Man, that's when we had all the hubbub about Walker Howard rumors after Jack Besh got in the portal. Of course, now he's at TCU. But they did not expect to have all three quarterbacks coming back. And I think that the way that things played out today, for all three of those quarterbacks to get to play is really good for morale of those three guys. Look, you can never really script these things the way you would like it to go. But I think it felt pretty darn good for Brian Kelly and his staff. The trick where it's going to get tricky for them in the spring is when you're a quarterback, you want to have the opportunity to compete with your number two offensive line and your number one offensive line. You want to have your number one wide receivers. If you're Walker Howard and you want to compete for that number two spot, and you want to be able to have Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas and the top offensive line in front of you, as you get an opportunity to go apples to apples against the other two guys, and vice versa for all three of them. So, but either way, it's going to be a very interesting offseason. I think it's going to be a fun offseason. One of the news items in Brian Kelly's press conference, post-game press conference, was asked about all the rumors, all the nasty rumors that have been out there for almost 10 days. Some of that stuff I started getting the Friday before Christmas Eve. And so I think it was Wilson Alexander that asked Brian Kelly if there were any assistant coaches that were in bad standing that might not be back. And he killed that rumor in a heartbeat and said that there were no issues. So I think some of that stuff has gotten out of hand, and we'll see where it all ends up and what the truth of it. But I think that's something that we're probably going to avoid here tonight. So
I'll say this also. The only comment I want to make on that, I did see Cody Worsham. Of course, he's interim VP of communications at LSU. He's been involved with the athletics department communications a good bit. He called it a malicious lie on Twitter today. So that's about as much from LSU side as you're going to hear.
And if it is 90% or 100% false, it is very malicious.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is it's been out there for a while, and I know that the majority of the media's probably had it for well over a week. And I think the good thing on them is they've stayed away from it. But one by one, that stuff has made its way to message boards. Other fan bases have seized on it. It's been a feeding frenzy. So
Barstool was over it.
Kind of squelched that, but I wonder maybe if it's been out there for a while. It was a little bit late, but I think it really hit critical mass in the last 48 hours. All right, guys, let me scroll up and get to some of your comments. LSU, a big 63-7 winner over Purdue. Just a total beatdown, and good for LSU. A very strong showing in Orlando. Beautiful weather, and the LSU fans that made their way out there obviously had a good time. Chance Babin says, Hughes starts at 23, momentum heading into spring. Barry Barbier, not impressed with Walker Howard, thought he was a lot better. Barry, I don't think that first series is what Walker had in mind, but if you go back and watch the tape, look at who was on the field alongside with him.
It's third string.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. That was one of my biggest disappointments from the game today.
Yeah, I'm not taking a shot at Landon Ibieta and all the other guys that were out there.
Well, Mike, they have zero
those guys
chemistry.
Were getting a first. Those guys are first getting. They're getting an opportunity along with him.
Well, look, I mean, the first snap he takes is rolled on the ground to him. He has to pick it up from the ground. None of those guys have chemistry playing or practicing with each other. It's not exactly a fair evaluation of Walker. Of course, in a 63-7 win, it's hard to be disappointed in anything, but what I'm disappointed about is that we just didn't get a really good look at Walker Howard, whereas we got a good look at the other, shall we call them, three quarterbacks, Daniels, Nussmeier, and Malik Neighbors looking good throwing the ball.
There's a little bit of echo in here, and I think it might be on your end. When I'm talking, it's coming in through you. Is there one of your things? It shouldn't be your mic. Is it maybe coming through your computer speaker?
Give me a second. I'm going to play with the settings.
Trucking with Casper. Great show, folks. Go Tigers. Thank you, Trucking with Casper. Let me get that. Some of these settings, I always got to switch them over. Preston likes to have them set different when he does his show. Rob Boudreaux, hello, fellas. Glad to have you with us. Jawan Hearns, Malik will be your number 7 next year. I think he is probably your odds-on favorite. Mark J, go Tigers. Jay Guillory would go Tigers. Sounds like there's an echo on your audio, Cody says. And I think it just got eliminated. Whatever Preston did, I think it's gone because I was hearing it. Preston, can you hear me?
Well, I've been muted the whole time. How about now, guys? Do I sound better?
What about now? It's gone. Whatever you did, you fixed it.
Good. Had to play around. Sorry, guys. Look, new preamp. Have to play around with it.
He's got a $600 microphone and all sorts of stuff there. But Bart Smokey, I thought Martinez looked good at center. Absolutely. Critter Getter. That was a good scrimmage. Go Tigers. Carl Dunn. Someone told Preston that all three quarterbacks was playing. Neighbors is quarterback 4. There you go. Holden Lee, I'm just glad BK shut those rumors down about coaching staff changes with that dumb rumor going around. Absolutely. Don Week, great win. Carson Kilgore, talk about going into the offseason with men of G's. Absolutely. Guys, hit that like button. If you're enjoying the show, hit that like button. Please share us to your Twitter feed, your Facebook timeline. Text it to your fellow LSU friends. Very much appreciated when you guys help spread the word of TigerBait. We've had phenomenal growth on our YouTube channel in the last football season, and it's all due to you guys tuning in and spreading the word. Golden Eyes, great win to springboard into the 2023 season. Brian Turner, go Tigers. By the way, Tulane proved that no matter how good somebody may be at the skill position, if you have supremacy on the trenches, you'll normally win the game. I really, I've said on this show for weeks, particularly when there was rumors for a while there where LSU might get to play Tulane in a Cotton Bowl and all that. He's one of the nicest guys in coaching, and congratulations to Tulane. 30 years ago, nobody would have said that because there was a lot more venom between LSU and Tulane fans. But now I think a lot of people are glad to see Tulane have some success like that. And how excited are they to hold on to him and that he's not going anywhere? Brian Russell, man, how do you let Polian come back? Yeah, I saw BK kind of fussing at him there when they got that first down on the 4th and 1.
People ask that question all the time. I don't think they actually want an answer to it. I'll play devil's advocate all you want, but I think they just want us here to come up on our pedestal and
I don't think he's
march
going
him out
anywhere.
of town.
Mark J. Mason Taylor will develop into a top tight end in college football next season. What is that kid going to look like physically? Another year at LSU, getting all that nutrition in the weight room with Coach Flint, getting another year of maturity. He's genetically already extremely gifted. We know that. Charles County Matters. Thank you guys for doing the right thing. All right, I'm assuming we're talking about those rumors. Absolutely. Charles County, people's lives and careers are involved. Unfortunately, a drunk T-Bob went there today, and I'll never listen to the show again, so help me God. I didn't hear that. All right, guys, I'm scrolling down. Music says Nuss Bus. I don't think Garrett Nussmeier did anything to affect his trajectory or in his mind where he's at in his development after how he performed in the SEC championship game. But again, when you start, looking at the interception to touchdown ratio and the total number of plays and how often he averages an interception, versus plays, it's that's still a problem. Harold Perkins should be number 7.
If you're going to give it to anybody, no doubt it's Harold Perkins.
I don't know, man.
Who would you give it to?
Well, it's also, who do you give 18 to? How does all that play out?
Yeah, but I mean, the 7 jersey is your stud, your first round draft pick. I mean, 18 is more of your senior veteran leader. It's very clear. I mean, Harold Perkins would be a sophomore.
Why wouldn't you
He's
give it to
your dude.
Malik? Why wouldn't you give it to Malik Neighbors and then give it to Perkins the following year?
Because Harold Perkins is better. I mean, it's pretty simple.
Well, there's some other factors into it. Who's doing what in the off season? Who's on time for meetings?
Sure.
I mean,
Sure.
Former LSU defensive line commit Patrick Jenkins made a great safety stop for Tulane. John Bro, I need to go back and watch the highlights. I didn't see any of it. Preston said he saw a little.
Yeah.
I did not.
Great ending there. I got a little gap to watch, man. Tulane came back, scored a touchdown with 7 seconds left, and made their extra point.
Lincoln Raleigh doesn't want anything with the state of Louisiana, says Carl the Cat. Josh Forbes, hey, Mike and Preston, what a day for Louisiana sports. Go Tigers and roll wave. Absolutely.
Roll wave.
I really hope BK picking J. Dean for next year doesn't backfire. I remember post-game of the Georgia or the A&M, whichever it was, Malik sat right beside BK and spoke confidence of Nuss over JD. Look, is it possible that every position group on the team likes Jaden Daniels to be the guy except for the wide receivers and tight ends?
That's a good point. I mean, yeah, if I'm Nussmeier, I could understand wanting, if I'm a wide receiver, I could understand wanting Nussmeier. He's got a rocket cannon arm. He's going to give you some chances to make plays, but guess what? He's also going to put your team in position to lose the game. You saw that interception he threw today. He's going to throw one of those a game. I mean, just an absolute stinker. You saw he sailed Mason Taylor early in the first quarter. I mean, yeah, he makes some incredible throws, but goes out and throws some bonehead throws. You got to work out those bonehead plays before you give him the nod. That's my opinion.
Slander Pop, if JD beats him in the spring, then whatever. The big problem with Nuss, still bad timing picks, especially in the end zone. Daniels isn't perfect, but definitely neither is Nuss. It's one of these deals where how are you winning football games? As a fan, you want to see a balanced attack, and you want to see a guy who can make the deep throw with accuracy. You want all that. But at the same time, what Jaden Daniels does with his legs, I mean, it's just you want what you want to see, but can you be more successful with the way Jaden Daniels gets it done, despite his shortcomings?
Hey, that's a good one for 18.
I can't wait to see Wiggins develop. That kid is massive. Josh Williams for 18 says Holden Lee.
I like that one.
That he's one of those kids when you start talking about his story and how he got to where he is.
Oh yeah.
You could see that, and you've got that little group of guys, Jacob Hester, and I guess Stringfellow and a few others that are on that committee to choose 18. You could see Josh Williams being a guy that they would really talk strong about for those numbers. That interception was just bad ball placement.
Mm-hmm. He was open. You just got to put the ball in the right spot.
Good evening, guys. Watching 68 Fitzgerald West today. He seems to move people. Fitzgerald West, look, we know how he got the scholarship offer at LSU. Got moved to center, participated in camp. He got offered by LSU, then Alabama. But his love has always been defensive line. Mm-hmm. He was happy to get the LSU offer at center, but there's no doubt at all what position he would prefer to play, and that's defensive line. Going to be interesting to see if that's his permanent spot going forward.
I think a lot of the young guys on that defensive line that had to step up today showed some good flashes today. I mean, you had Savion Jones, who it didn't really show up on the box score, but he was a presence back there. Quincy Wiggins, you saw him do a little bit. I mean, got a little glimpse of the future today, and it looks pretty sharp. Very, very physically talented, though.
Well, we've got one of our first guys that we need to talk about who helps this show go each and every week, and that's attorney Kenneth P. Haines. Let's hear from Kenny.
Board-certified family law specialist Kenneth P. Haines is a highly skilled and experienced trial and appeal attorney with over 33 years of experience solving real legal problems for real people, specializing in all aspects of family law, divorce, support, custody, and property. Your standards are high, so are ours. For representation in Northwest Louisiana, call attorney Kenny Haines at 318-222-2100.
And there you go. Of course, Kenny is the official lawyer of TigerBait.com, and he reserves the right to think most clearly for a paying client. We thank Kenny for being our post-game sponsor again this past season, and I know he wants to do some different baseball shows, and we're trying to piece that together. Baseball season is going to be here before you know it, and that's really one of Kenny's favorites. So we're going to see what we can do there. Let's see. Let me get to some more of you guys' comments. Again, hit that like button, share. Please hit the subscription button, that notification bell. We're loading our YouTube channel up with player interviews, coaching press conferences, and a lot more almost daily with new content. And hit that notification bell so that way you know whenever there's some new LSU content up there. Yeah, Carl the Cat, how about that 99-yard pick from Frank's son? Yeah, Quad Wilson, the fourth. That was something else, and it was really fun about it to watch his teammates as happy as they were for him. That was the icing on the cake of a very great day for LSU football.
The epitome of just anything that can go wrong going wrong. Murphy's Law for Purdue there.
Yeah. I prefer to have defensive players wear number 7. It gives too much attention to top playmakers on offense.
The dandy doodle effect. Give it to the flashy receiver with an attitude problem, makes the attitude a little worse. I see where you're going with that, Mark J.
Brian Russell, he's got a lot of good comments tonight. He says JD will evolve in the passing game. That's why he's coming back.
Hope so.
Charles County matters. BK doesn't like turnovers. Talking about Garrett Nussmeier.
And it's very obvious which one of those is going to give you less turnovers. Very abundantly obvious that Jaden's a better quarterback for that.
Bart Smokey, Daniels should go in as number 1, but contrary to Preston on Nuss's throws, JD is awful on long throws. Jaden Daniels is not very good with his long throws.
I think we're kind of agreeing though, Bart, because I was saying that Nussmeier does throw the better long ball. He has more arm talent. He has the higher ceiling. I just think right now it's pretty apparent Jaden Daniels is the better quarterback once you look at the complete package. You realize Jaden Daniels is LSU's second all-time leader in total yards? Second. Behind Joe Burrow. Only 2,500 yards behind Joe Burrow. I mean,
I don't see Nussmeier being in the same vicinity as Jaden Daniels. And I'm not taking a shot at Nussmeier. He's just not.
I think he's got more arm talent.
It's a total package and the ability to win big football games.
I think Nussmeier will get there. We got to remember Nussmeier's a freshman. He's still a freshman, redshirt freshman. I don't care. I know he's been around a while. He's young. He needs to learn how to play safer football, but he clearly can make throws that Jaden Daniels cannot.
And by the way,
make.
Nussmeier is more willing to throw the deep ball.
Yeah. Oh, he's willing. He's a little too willing, don't you think?
He's going to forsake the underneath easy throw to try and get the home run ball.
Yep.
Phoenix 665, hi press. I'm your cousin Remy.
What's up, little guy?
Kevin Bernard, nice to see the Green Wave knock out the Trojans. Yeah, we talked about that a little earlier. Derek Davis in the portal but play today. I don't get it. I'd be curious to see how that's going to play out long term. We could use Derek Davis at safety, says Carvis Door.
Hold up. We got to talk about we got 2 comments about Derek Davis. Did y'all see the grown man touchdown run he made today? Dog. Whoo! I wouldn't want to try tackling him.
Josh Forbes, Walker showed off his arm on that one bomb, even though it wasn't caught on the sideline.
Yep, he did. He was better than his stat line will show today.
Do you think Derek Davis comes back or stays in the portal? He has flash at running back. I tend to think he's going to not come back, but we'll see. How many more recruits will Brian Kelly sign in February, and what other portal guys does he go after? Brian Kelly says they are going to host another recruiting weekend in January. I'm assuming that's going to be in 2 weeks. And I really want to see what the makeup of that official visit weekend is going to be, as in, what's the total number? And of that number, what percentage is portal guys from other colleges versus actual high school seniors? I tend to think, I'm just going to make up a number. If you have 6 visitors, I think 4 of them could be college transfer portal kids. But we'll see. Again, I've just made up that number. We'll know more as the dust settles on today and they get back to work. And you're in a dead period right now. You've got so we'll see. Huey Lipsy, love the show, guys. Go Tigers! A full with Brian Kelly and staff will improve this team's continuity. Thank you, Huey, for the super chat. Absolutely. Like we started the show, it's a big morale booster to go into the offseason with a huge 63-7 win over Purdue. You get the 10 wins, and what a fantastic season. I was in that 7-5, 8-4 camp, SEC West champs. That Alabama win, of course, was worth how many victories to a lot of people. I mean, that game right there is worth 3 Citrus Bowls. American Patriot, great shows, guys. Can't wait until September. Thank you for the super chat, American Patriot. He's with us every week. Trucking with Casper, how does JD improve? The only way JD can improve is if he runs more. I just don't understand the stubbornness to stick with a guy the team would rather not stick with. I don't think that the team doesn't want to stick with him. Again, is there a real possibility that you, depending on what the position group is, which guy can get you to 10 or 11 wins as a starter?
Well, I tell you one position group who would much rather Jaden Daniels. That offensive line would much rather. So it's just one of the things. Who are you talking about when you say the team? I mean, you're kind of reading into a half quote from, one receiver. I'm not so sure. Now, I'll give him this. I do see where he's coming from because I've kind of been on this from the get-go. The throws that Jaden Daniels can't make, or doesn't make, I should say, guys don't just start throwing touch passes over the top overnight. Typically, when a guy is underneath with his passing, he doesn't start throwing over the top of cornerbacks and putting, dimes in a basket.
And that's why I'm going to be devil's advocate and maybe sound like a Debbie Downer, but that was always kind of my contention about the argument of whether Jaden Daniels should go pro or come back. Now, I can say, well, he shouldn't go pro because he's not going to be a high draft pick. My only point on that is if he's already played 4 years of college football, I don't know that another year improves where NFL GMs are going to view him next year. I think he is what he is at this point.
Yeah, I tend to agree. He kind of is what he is. Now, he might get better chemistry with the team. The offensive line might improve.
That's going to happen.
Running back
That's going to happen.
And on the stat sheet, it looks even better, but I do think he is what he is as a prospect. I just don't see him improving too much as a passer because the type of throws he doesn't make. Guys,
and by the way, while we it seems like we're running him down, or it seems like I'm running Jaden Daniels down. I mean, I was the guy saying in the first month, ranking him amongst previous LSU quarterbacks this century. And, who would I take, not including Joe Burrow in the conversation. I was already saying pretty early in the season that to quarterback my team, I would take him over Zach Mettenberger.
Yeah. I mean,
and that would be most people's number 2 best quarterback this century.
I thought that was crazy.
Of course, but, Rohan Davey, I would say would be second.
And then Jamarcus Russell was probably a little bit better too. Go watch those highlights. Go watch those highlights of the crazy throws that dude was making, and then come talk to me.
That Notre Dame Sugar Bowl did a whole lot for Jamarcus.
And let's be honest, Dwayne Bowe and all those talented receivers did a lot for him too. I think he had 3 first-rounders.
And I'm a big
but I mean, look,
Jamarcus guy.
Yeah.
So
just so y'all know, when Jamarcus sees Mike every time, he gives Mike a giant bear hug, and that's just a sight to see.
Yeah, Jamarcus is a good guy. I wish he would have had a better pro career, but
yeah,
he loves LSU. I can tell you all that.
By the way, people are commenting about how people were saying the same thing about Joe Burrow not being able to take that next step. Guys, stop it. Stop it. You could see the potential oozing from Joe Burrow. Are you telling me after that Fiesta Bowl, you didn't think Joe Burrow was about to have a big season? Come on now, guys. Let's be real.
Everybody was mocking him at the Newman Passing Academy when he was saying what he was saying about what was coming.
50, 60, 70 points. Yeah.
Yeah. Bayou Bingle, Mike is LSU signing high school recruits during the February signing period. We'll see. I don't know what that number looks like, Bayou Bingle. I don't know if we're talking 1 or 2 guys. High school, and then, don't forget, just because you can sign as many as you want and there's no 25 max, there is a second transfer portal period in May. So there's going to be some of these numbers where they're like, you know what, we might feel good at this position, but there might, there's a couple of positions on the team where there's, you think you're in good shape, but you don't know for sure until you go through spring football. And so you're going to want to hold some of those spots back in case you have a catastrophic injury or two at a particular spot. You don't know what's going to happen with the transfer portal. You're going to have 3 quarterbacks there in the spring, but you're not going to have 3 quarterbacks after May. That's just not. I'll go out on a limb on that. I have a hard time believing that. If he does that, BK is a miracle worker. Crying belly feels sad for Mike Jones. Yep. I saw where he's not going to come back for another year, and one of the most likable guys, one of the top 2 or 3 player interviews. Anybody who's ran into Mike Jones around town, super kid, and I hope nothing but the best for him. George Gainey, and I know I'm butchering your last name, George, forgive me. If I said it right, let me know, or wrong. Heck of a game today. LSU had a great season. I remember where it was a year ago. Jaden Daniels is a football player. He'll thrive with the competition.
Had a really good season.
Also thought that Jay would have a big game after he stood in there like an absolute dog after getting hurt in the SEC championship game. There's that's another thing you can say about Jaden Daniels is how tough he is, man. Because he's not the biggest. He's not carrying a whole lot of pounds on that frame, and there's no questioning his durability. And he certainly ain't afraid to take a hit. Would like to see him not to take so many big hits. But I mean, what do you think he weighs?
191 pounds.
And what did they list him at? What did they list him at on the roster? 195?
I don't know.
Did they give him 200?
Yeah.
But he's absolutely a guy who lost weight during the season, like a lot of football players do.
I'm going to put a really good comment I have found here. Drew Bogey actually posted the numbers. Jaden Daniels, 3,592 yards, ranks second to Joe Burrow with 6,039. By the way, Joe Burrow is the only player in college football history, or FBS history, with 6,000-yard seasons. So I'd say
talk about a day for football. After we're done with this, we got Monday Night Football, Bills, Bengals. And I've been looking forward to that game all weekend. And
the Saints season is now effectively over. On the same day they beat the best team in the NFL, they get eliminated from the playoffs, which I think is the most Saints thing ever to happen. So now I guess we all hop on the Bengals bandwagon, playing the Bills tonight.
And we want to talk about another one of our sponsors, and I'm going to hand this one over to Preston, but here they are, Alumni Hall. I'm putting it up on the screen. And we're very happy to have Alumni Hall on board with us at TigerBait.com.
Absolutely. We're excited with them. We're hoping to move into the future with them. But, guys, y'all know all my Christmas money, where I'm going to Alumni Hall this year. All my friends and family are LSU fans, so it's easy to find something for them. I mean, any person I know, there's something there for them. They have the best apparel, family hats, drinkware, wall art, lamps, cornhole, anything you want for LSU brand on it. They've got it. So make sure to get they're certainly going to have some Citrus Bowl championship t-shirts coming up soon. So y'all make sure to pop in there at Perkins Row. LSU students, faculty, and military all get 10% off in store. So make sure to go then there. You can get cashback rewards with their Hall Pass rewards. Check out Alumni Hall in Perkins Row or shop anytime at alumnihall.com.
That store is loaded to the gills with gear, and they've got the high-end stuff. They've got the really nice, the stuff that's not going to fall apart when you put it in the dryer.
High quality.
Go to Alumni Hall.
I liken it to like LSU Willy Wonka. Okay, it's crazy.
Absolutely. All right, let's get some more of these comments. Thanks again to Alumni Hall and all of our sponsors. Trucking with Casper again. Zach, Jaden Daniels is not going to get better at throwing the ball. It's just nonsense to think he will. Look, do I think he might have more confidence? Do I think he's going to become more second nature if he spends all off season the way Joe Burrow did with Chase and Marshall, etc.? I do think. I think he can look a lot better. But as far as accuracy, the velocity, I mean, that stuff's baked into the cake at this age. So we'll see. Yeah, they talked about this one during the Citrus Bowl. I thought Orlovsky made a good point. J2 is too conservative, gets rattled too easily when he makes mistakes, and that never changed from the start to the season. And they were remarking about, what is it, his 3 interceptions, and that's good and bad. Maybe be better if he maybe had a few more or maybe double that, because that would mean maybe that he'd be letting go of the ball and willing to hit the big play a little bit further downfield. So I can see that's part of Brian Kelly's thoughts. And that was something we talked about earlier in the season, is the reason why, he's had so few interceptions is because he's so fearful to make those throws when you've got a 1st and 15. He'd rather tuck it in and see if he can get there with his legs. And most of the time for the first 2/3 of the season, he did. Mark J., I'm a lot more confident in the linebacker room this upcoming season than I were last year. I think absolutely. I agree. Michael Johnson, Bama, and Clemson had a heck of a D-line rotation like Georgia has had during their championship run. Do you guys think that TCU is in the process of getting that?
I do. Is in the process.
Yeah, but I still think I want some more. I'd like for LSU to have some more Mekhi Wingos. Maybe, in that style, 1 or 2 guys like him that are 6'1" to 6'3". I think you need some of those wide bodies that can clog up the middle. Wingo is just amazing to me.
I would have loved to see them sign a stud defensive tackle in the freshman class. I thought they brought in a really good transfer portal class, but no true defensive tackle of those guys. That was a little concerning.
Mm-hmm. DJ, every time Nuss came into the game, the announcers just start bragging on him. Look, a lot of those guys know his father. Obviously, you know what he did slinging it around the field in the second half of the SEC title game. Everybody was watching that game. What did it have, 16 million viewers? Those guys see that. Are you guys ready for LSU Kentucky? I feel like it's going to be hectic again, but I'm falling in love with this program and ready to move on from Will Wade. That was a big win from Matt McMahon over Arkansas last week, without a doubt.
Great
and
game.
I made my way over to the PMAC yesterday to see Kim Mulkey's team versus Vanderbilt. They moved up to number 7 today. That came out during the bowl game. If you didn't see that, LSU's now number 7 in the women's poll and still undefeated. So I'm going to stick to my prediction that I said. I think in next month, I think Kim Mulkey takes her team to Columbia, South Carolina, and beats South Carolina. I'm sticking
I can't wait, man. I hope Don Stolley's crying in the postgame presser.
Mm-hmm. There's some bad blood on that one, guys. And most of it's from the Staley end of things, I assure you. He didn't exit the portal. He's still, just because you enter the portal doesn't mean you can't play.
By the way, Mike, so LSU finishes 10-4 now. You figure they're going to finish somewhere in the top 15 now, which is pretty good year one.
Yeah, where are they going to finish in the rankings?
Well, I'm trying to get exactly pinpointing. I think it's not going to be as big a jump as you might think. Because, I mean, a lot of teams ahead of them won their bowl games, and the ones that are losing, if Tulane had lost, they would have dropped below LSU, but USC won. So I'm thinking around 14-13 without actually counting it up.
That's not bad. No,
it's pretty good. But where do you think LSU starts next season now? Because you got 10 out of 11 starters back on offense, and most of that defense you saw, minus the defensive backfield, most of them's going to be back next year.
Here's what's going to happen because of what happened. And when the dust settles on recruiting rankings and transfer portal class rankings, and because of what Brian Kelly did in year one and went to Atlanta, I mean, who are you going to pick in the West to finish second? It ain't going to be fourth or fifth like last year.
No.
So LSU's already going to be picked second in the West, without a doubt.
Yeah.
So a team that won 10 games is going to be picked second in the West. I could see LSU maybe somewhere between like 9 and 12 or 13.
I think the
To
only
start-
two teams in the SEC going to be rated higher than LSU are going to be Georgia and Alabama. Because Georgia brings back they have that 5-star quarterback coming out, and they're just looking like
Yeah,
a
Zach
factory
agrees
at
with
this
me.
point.
I think if they get into the top 10, maybe it's 9 or 10, but I can see them being, like I said, 9, 11, 12, 13, somewhere in there.
I think
which
we're
is a
going to
good-
see.
Which is a good starting point. You
I
beat
think
Florida
we're gonna
State. You go back to Orlando, you beat Florida State in that game.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that'll
By the
be a
way,
top
is that
10 game, by the way.
Is that a Sunday night game as well?
Monday. I think it's Monday. I think it's Labor Day. No, it's Sunday. Yeah, it's Sunday. That's right.
So it's Sunday again? Okay.
Yeah, Sunday before Labor Day, which I'll be
Just like
pushing
last
Mike all off season to take us to that game. Mike has said he'll take my son to Disney World, so I'm going to hold him to that.
Man, I'm not a big Orlando fan.
I'm kidding, y'all, but we'll see.
I know
We'll
you want.
consider
I know
it.
you want to get to Harry Potter. Don't lie.
Oh, I do want to see the what's it called at Universal, the Hogwarts thing, but
Yeah, that's what I said. At Mike, I can't stand the media when teams like K-State and Purdue get a free pass for losing because it was supposed to happen, and we weren't that good. But when LSU loses a game, we don't get a pass. Yeah, that happens. Look, whenever you see Illinois or Purdue or teams like that do some nice things, look at the way everybody's fawning over Tulane right now. You can understand it. LSU's supposed to be salty and one of your elite teams that are never supposed to have seasons like 20 and 21. But look, when you get beat at home the way LSU did to Tennessee, you can see why the media aren't going to give LSU a pass.
by the way, I'm counting it up, and all 11 of the starters who started on offense today will be back next year. I'm counting. I think this is 19 start. I'm sorry. 18 starters coming back next year for LSU, based on the bowl game today.
George says Kim Mulkey is as tough a competitor as anyone I've seen in 60 years of following sports. They'll give SE all it wants, and I wish they'd play twice. I like the old way of scheduling where you'd play every SEC team home and away. But that was always fun in the men's game when you would play Kentucky at home and then have them away as well. Riley Ortego, support my friend Preston, awesome human. Mike, thanks for keeping him around. Also, I wouldn't be surprised if we are favored by a few to win the West. Thanks, Riley, for the super chat.
Appreciate it. That's my old teammate back from Christian Life Academy. He was a very talented player, a couple of years younger than me. Great guy, man. He was a nut with LSU football. The only guy back in high school who could keep up with me on the LSU talk. The only one I ever met.
That means he probably won all the debates. Jawan Hearns, LSU has a proven quarterback coming back. Bama and Georgia does not. It'll be interesting to see how Alabama's quarterback.
Well, they have
situation
Jalen
plays out.
Milroe, and I'm trying to remember the 5-star kid at Georgia's name. I talked to my buddy Aaron Murray, who's very excited for him. He thinks he could be better than Stetson Bennett next year.
Thanos, LSU defense going to be legit.
8 starters coming back. Harold Perkins will be one of the best defensive players in the country. I mean, you got to have a lot of confidence in that unit.
B. Wyman, Texas A&M is going to surprise people.
So what, 2-10 instead of 4-8?
No, I think they're going to be better next year. But, they got to come to Tiger Stadium. Hal Jubin, he's big on basketball. Says, Mike, I agree they should do home and away. I'd like to see South Carolina and LSU play twice this year. I don't know if it can happen in the SEC championship, SEC tournament, but LSU has to go to Columbia this year. Although I think that General Alabama will be favorite, but a few will pick us like Matt Moscona, and there was never much debating, mainly just reminiscing on memories. Don Weed, I'm with you, Mike. I hope Kim goes to South Carolina and beats them. Man, Kim Mulkey's she's getting a lot of. I'm always tweaking some of my friends. I enjoy showing them the views. Now, when Matt McMahon had his post game the other night when they beat Arkansas, of course, they were in the top 10. Matt McMahon's views on his post game had a huge number, but most of the time, the press conference battle on the TigerBait YouTube channel, Kim Mulkey usually beats Matt McMahon at least by 2 or 3 times. Mike, I can't stand the media on teams like
this one.
Okay, I already read that one. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm scrolling up.
Holden
guys.
Lee has a good comment here at the bottom about Greg Brooks.
Go ahead.
Having Greg Brooks coming back was the biggest thing for the defense. That's huge, guys. And it's sad because he flashed a little bit of honey badger energy. Is that hyperbole to call it honey badger energy? I think it is. I think he did show some honey badger energy, I should say. It didn't necessarily. Some games he'd go missing from it though, but I feel like next year, him coming back, he'll be the veteran leader in that defensive backfield, and you desperately need it because you're losing Jay Ward, Colby Richardson, Joe Fouché, Bernard Converse. You're losing a lot of guys.
I added Tyrann Mathieu earlier today because he had that. It was on one of the NFL Top 100 videos. I think it was for Jamar Chase because they got him to comment on him about how good was he when Jamar was in the top 10 of the top 100, and talking about Tiger on Tiger crime, having to defend Jamar, and they had an image of Tre'Davious White and Jamar Chase that they'll be going up against each other tonight.
Oh, that'll be fun.
I said, Tyrann, could this be Tiger on Tiger crime tonight? And I didn't go back and see if he's replied or maybe he hadn't seen it, but. It's funny to see some of these battles with the NFL so littered with LSU, former LSU players. This is going to be a fantastic game tonight. And, of course, I'm pulling for LSU North, the Cincinnati Bengals. Who would y'all start for next season, JD or Nuss? Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, I'm with you. Daniels is a better quarterback until Nussmeier shows me something different. I mean, look, I'm all for it. If Nussmeier plays to his potential, he's the better quarterback. I'll go on record and say that, but he hasn't ever done that. So it's Jaden Daniels.
It's a good problem to have for Brian Kelly, Joe Sloan, Denbrock, depending on what happens with the transfer portal in May after spring football. Again, I don't think that all 3 quarterbacks are going to be back for August. I think someone's going to hit the road, whether it's Nussmeier or Walker Howard. I don't know, but what you would like is that you've got a number 2 that has come a long way that you have no qualms about putting in the game that can win it for you. And what does that mean? If it's Nussmeier, that means he doesn't have the propensity to make bad throws once a quarter that result in a turnover.
Right.
You can't get on John Emery and say it's unacceptable for a running back to put the football on the ground as much as he does. And the same thing goes for a quarterback. It
does, but it's also a little bit of a risk reward. I mean, there's, when you're running the ball, you're not, taking 50-yard shots.
Of course, several of the last few interceptions of Nussmeier have been in the end zone.
Yeah. Well, the interception today was just inexcusable. That was inexplicably bad. You do not, on the 5-yard line, you do not throw that ball. I understand you're up 49-0, but I mean, you're battling for the starting spot. Show ball security. Jane Daniels also has his bad throws from time to time, but when his throws are bad, they go to the receiver's feet. They tend not to be up in the air sailing where, a lurking DB can poach it off.
Chance Babbitt, Major Burns, and Greg Brooks will be leaders in the defensive backfield next year. And you're gonna have some new faces mingled in as well, and some depth. And again, it's going to be a fun spring to watch. And so, thank you for that comment. And let's see, I got one more I need to. Of course, Pride Roofing been with us all year long. Let's hear from Mike and Alex.
Hi, I'm Michael.
I'm Alex.
At Pride Roofing, we handle commercial and residential work.
TPO, shingle, and metal inventory.
We got it. Property still in disarray from the recent hurricanes and hailstorms. Insurance claims?
No problem. But Pride Roofing is the official roofer at TigerBait.com.
In fact, notify TigerBait and we'll give you a free roof inspection. And on top of that, you get a free year subscription. Call 855-PRIDE-16. Se habla español.
There you go. Call Pride Roofing, 855-PRIDE-16. Tell them you heard about them on TigerBait, and they're going to pay for you to have TigerBait Premium for a year. That's a $99 value. They're footing the bill for it. So you get a free roof inspection. You say TigerBait, you're going to get free TigerBait for a year. And, of course, whether it's a commercial or residential roof, anywhere in South Louisiana, Gulf Coast of Mississippi, all the way up to Jackson, Mississippi, all the way north to Alexandria, they've got you covered. Based right in Albany, Louisiana. Mike Faraday, an LSU grad and a Broadmoor High School grad right here in Baton Rouge. Swing by their office right there on Florida Boulevard in Albany. What an operation they've got going there. Always expanding. Can't beat Pride Roofing, the official roofing company of TigerBait.com. Let's see now. Michael Johnson, any update on the real season MVP for LSU? Charles Turner, he did a really A-plus job this season. Martinez did great in that sub job. Yeah, I'm gonna go back and watch the game again. And of course, Brian Lazar has already got his instant analysis up on the site. Preston's got his game story. I've got Coach Brahms' post-game video up on our YouTube channel. Brian Kelly's up on our YouTube channel. But we will have the grades tomorrow, the report card grading each of the units. Brian does that after every game. And so if you're not a subscriber to TigerBait, you'll want to sign up for $1. And we want to have you as a part of our TigerBait community. You'll get our text alerts, our newsletters. I got a recruiting update coming tomorrow on Harlan Berry from St. Martin's Episcopal. Fantastic running back who I filmed earlier this season. Got a really nice recruiting update coming on him tomorrow. We've got a lot coming your way this week. We're about to, the football season in today, but we still got a whole month of January for football recruiting. Men's and women's basketball, both doing things that everybody's interested. Baseball seasons will be here before you know it, and spring football will be here before you know it. So it don't get any easier for the guys like us that cover LSU media. Cover the LSU programs because this is the busiest time of the year. Every sport is going on come March, April. It's nonstop. See anything you want to put up, Preston?
Well, I like this comment from my guy Riley here. Charles Turner starting over Dellinger proves he's willing to go against what he thought was right. He's willing to change a decision. All the QBs will get a chance. He's, of course, talking about Kelly and his lack of stubbornness, I guess, for lack of a better term. Hey, yeah, you like to see it. And well, he said he's going to have an open mind in the quarterback competition, which is all you can ask for if you're Nussmeier.
He seemed real stubborn at the beginning of the year when it came to winning the toss and not deferring.
Yeah.
And he changed that up, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He must have been listening to your Twitter feed because I think you were the only one complaining about it.
Yeah, it was me. It was me that convinced him. Yeah,
I mean, you are very important, right?
Yeah,
Leather-bound books.
Like he gives a damn what I'm saying.
Any update on early enrollees? I mean, we're still at 15 plus the, what is that, 7 we're at with the transfer portal guys? So 20, 22?
It's a huge number. I mean, and he's already talked about Aaron Anderson, right? So,
Mike, what do you think? Why do you think there's that many?
I mean, what did he say? What is it, like 40% of the roster's turning over within a year? I mean, it's a huge number. Yeah.
It's a lot of dudes to bring in. Do you think they're doing anything in particular to get these players to graduate early? Are they communicating with them earlier and, making sure they do what they need to do to graduate early? Or is that just coincidence?
No, I think it's what kids are doing. They're doing it on their own.
Okay, so it's not a LSU coaching staff move at all. It's just the nature of
kids
the
are doing
business.
it on their own. But there's a double-edged sword on that, and we've talked about that on the show. And I use it mainly to talk about Walker Howard and why he's getting antsy, and the other side can argue, well, he shouldn't be. He's only been there for a year. Garrett Nussmeier's a year older. He's the one that should be getting antsy, and if he's not the guy, should move on. Well, when a kid is a midterm grad and he goes through spring football and he goes through a football season, in his mind, he feels like he's been there for 2 years. When in reality, he's only been there for 2 semesters. Right? 1 football season. But because you're there during the spring and you cut your high school year in half, you can see where they get that mindset. And then for a guy like Walker Howard, his roommates, Will Campbell, close to Emory, and that all the other freshmen, Mason and Harold Perkins doing big things. There's a competitive nature to it. So you can see where these guys get antsy. And then you combine that with the fact that because of the free COVID year, you've got guys like Jaden Daniels that are continuing to, because they're getting a free year, it's pushing everybody back further down the line. And it's causing kids all across the country to get in the portal just because you've got, a bunch of 23 and 24-year-old 5th, 6th, 7-year seniors in there. I mean, it's crazy. And so I can't wait to see the number when they put that out. Somebody's going to have it at some point of the number of kids who got in the portal and didn't have a place to go.
Yeah. Well, I think I saw last I checked, there's like 1,400 kids in the transfer portal. My God. And then you look at things like LSU's got 12 or 13 guys going out, 7 guys coming in. It seems like there's always more going out than there is coming in. I mean, you have to wonder.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. LSU with a big one, 63-7. Go to TigerBait, subscribe. Go to our YouTube channel if you haven't seen the Brian Kelly postgame. Brom as well. Brian's got a really nice instant analysis feature up on TigerBait. If you're not a subscriber, go try us out for $1. Read that. I'm going to be on the message boards day and night. Thank you, Preston, again, for another great football season. And you doing a show tomorrow night?
I'm doing a show tomorrow night. We'll be doing the football show through the February signing day, even though they might not sign anybody on that signing day. We'll see. They might add 1 or 2 guys. There might be something, but we'll just have to see who they are. But that's once that show ends. Once that day comes, we'll do one more show after, and that's it for the season. We'll be doing
guys,
Mike and his stuff.
I'll be there Wednesday night. I'm pretty sure Buddy's going to be with me. He was supposed to be with me last week, and we ended up not doing a show last week. But we'll be back Wednesday night at 8:00, or maybe it's 7. What's the basketball deal?
Basketball plays Tuesday night, so I'll be going head to head with the basketball team tomorrow.
So we're good.
So
all right,
if y'all don't want to watch the Kentucky game, come hang out with me.
All right, guys. See you on the other side, and good night. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, notification bell. Good night.
Night, y'all.